I'd lived in this apartment for 5 years without a single strange thing ever happening. That was the reason I signed the lease in the first place. The building wasn't new, but it wasn't old enough to creak or feel haunted either. Just a boring, quiet complex at the edge of town. I liked it that way. No noise, no surprises, the kind of place where you could pretend the rest of the world didn't exist once you closed your door. At least, that's how it was, until about a month ago. It started with my neighbor. She lived directly across the hall from me. And though we weren't close, I saw her almost every day. She was a woman, in her mid-50s, small frame, thinning grey hair always tied back in a bun. She carried herself with the kind of caution that made her seem fragile, like she expected the world to hurt her if she let her guard down. We'd nod at each other, occasionally exchange a hello, but never much more. Until that one night, I was lugging groceries up the stairs when I heard her door open. She stepped out just as I was fumbling for my keys, but she looked different, off. Her skin was pale, almost grey, and her eyes seemed sunken into dark, bruised circles. She leaned heavily on the doorframe, as though she wasn't strong enough to stand without it. When she spoke, her voice cracked. "Have you been hearing it too?" I stopped in the hallway, unsure what she meant. Hearing what? Her eyes darted toward the wall between our apartments, then back to me. For a moment, I thought she might explain, but instead, she just shook her head quickly, like she'd said too much, and retreated into her apartment. The door slammed behind her. I stood there for a while, groceries digging into my arms, unsettled. It wasn't just her words. It was the fear in them. That was the first time the unease seeped in. And then that very night, I found out what she meant. I woke sometime after midnight. At first, I thought it was a dream. A sound slow, deliberate, knocking, but not at the door. No, this was deeper, from inside the walls themselves. Knock, knock, knock. My blood ran cold. I sat up in bed, frozen, staring at the wall behind my headboard. The knocks continued, moving slowly along the wall, traveling from one end of the room to the other, then silence. I lay there for hours, too terrified to move, waiting for it to start again. But it didn't. The silence was worse than the sound. The next night, it happened again. Only this time, it didn't stop with knocking. After the last knock faded, I heard something else. A dragging sound, like heavy limbs pulling across wood or plaster. It moved slowly, scraping, and then breathing. Shallow, muffled, but undeniable. Someone, or something, was crawling through the walls. I pressed my ear against the plaster, and my stomach dropped. I wasn't imagining it. The sound was right there, a whisper away. After that, nothing was normal again. The apartment changed. The air felt heavier, harder to breathe. My electronics started acting up. The television switched on by itself at 3 a.m. The screen filled with static, bright enough to light the room. My phone buzzed with phantom notifications, but when I checked, there was nothing there. My laptop, left shut on the desk, once powered on in the middle of the night. A document opened by itself, and words appeared, one by one. "Let me out." That was the first time I thought about breaking the lease, about moving out no matter the cost. But some part of me still wanted to believe it was stress, or faulty wiring, or something rational. Anything except what it seemed to be. 2 weeks later, denial became impossible. It was 2:30 inches the morning when I woke to a strange feeling. My bedroom door was open. I never sleep with it open. I never forget to lock it. But that night, it stood wide open. and the hallway stretched into darkness beyond. I sat upright, staring. That's when I saw it. At the far end of the hallway, near the kitchen, something stood. It was tall. Too tall. And unnaturally thin. Its body hunched forward, as though it didn't quite fit in the space. I couldn't make out its face, but I didn't need to. I could feel its eyes on me, heavy and suffocating. The air grew thick, pressing down on my chest. My heart pounded, and then I blinked, and it was gone. The next morning, I stepped into the hallway. The air smelled faintly of rot, a sour, earthy stench that hadn't been there before. My neighbor's door was wide open. Her lights were still on, her furniture untouched, but she was gone. No one's seen her since. That was when I understood. She hadn't been crazy. She hadn't been mistaken. Whatever lived in these walls had taken her, and now it was coming for me. The knocking didn't just continue, it grew, louder, stronger, shaking the picture frames off the walls. Sometimes it came from beneath the floor, rattling the boards under my feet. Other times it echoed from above, in the ceiling directly over my bed. One night, I swore the whole apartment was breathing, the walls expanding and contracting around me like a giant set of lungs. I couldn't take it anymore. I ran out and slept in my car, but even then, staring up at the dark windows of my apartment. 3 nights ago, everything got worse. I was brushing my teeth when I heard footsteps in the hallway. Slow, dragging steps, deliberate in their weight. For one hopeful second, I thought maybe my neighbor had returned. Maybe she was back. But when I stepped into the hallway, my blood froze. It was waiting. The same figure from before, tall, hunched, wrong. This time, I saw more of it. The skin stretched too thin across its bones, veins pulsing beneath like worms crawling under flesh. Its limbs hung too long, and the floor groaned under each shift of its weight. Its head tilted toward me with a jerking, unnatural movement. I slammed the bathroom door, locked it, and slid down the tile, heart hammering. Toothbrush still in my hand. I sat there for an hour, listening to it pace, back and forth, back and forth. Every creak of the floorboards, a needle in my nerves. When the footsteps finally stopped, I didn't dare move. The next morning, I found the bathroom mirror cracked straight down the middle. Now, every night, it returns. The knocking never stops. At first it was slow, spaced out, almost like pipes shifting, but not anymore. Now, it's deliberate, rhythmic, almost like a code, and it's not alone. Sometimes I hear scratching, claws dragging inside the walls. Sometimes I hear whispering. One night, I set my phone to record while I slept. When I listened back the next morning, the knocks were there clear, undeniable, but layered beneath them was something else. A voice. Low, gravelly, mocking. Next door was first. You're next. I can't get those words out of my head. I dream about my neighbor now. Her grey skin. The way she trembled when she asked me that question. Did she know it was too late? Sometimes I wonder if she tried to warn me because she wanted me to escape, or because she wanted me to suffer the same fate. My friends laugh when I tell them. They say I'm stressed, overworked, paranoid, but they don't wake up to pounding in their walls. They don't hear their names, whispered from the dark. They don't live here. I do. And tonight, it's different. The knocking hasn't stopped all evening. It's constant now, shaking the walls, rattling the ceiling like it's going to collapse. The smell of rot is overwhelming, filling every corner of the apartment. My eyes water from it. My stomach churns. I can hear footsteps in the hallway, slow, heavy, closer than before. I don't need to look, I know it's out there. The ceiling creaks above me. Something is crawling up there. The light bulb flickers, casting shadows that stretch and bend wrong across the walls. And then, beneath the noise, I hear breathing. Steady, patient, waiting. It's inside the walls. And soon, it won't need to knock anymore. If this is my last entry, you'll know why.